he's not just the president of the USA. He is a human dynamo. They love him. He's got energy. He is just the greatest showman you have ever seen. And one thing for certain, if you're a voter on Tuesday, tomorrow, here in America, with Trump, you know exactly what you're getting.
That was Nigel Farage, a right-wing politician from Britain who absolutely loves Donald Trump and thinks that everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth is golden. Well, interestingly, we're about to find that Nigel Farage and his predictions about Trump are so off. That's right. Bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools or health.
No, Donald, that is not one of the smartest things you could have done. Not only have you not paid your taxes, you've bragged about it, announced it on national TV whilst running for president. That is going to come and bite you in the ass. In fact, that's up there with Homer Simpson.
Woohoo! I'm a college man! I won't need my high school diploma anymore! I am the smart! I am the smart! I am the smart!
Yes, that is absolutely spot on, except Homer Simpson's quite a nice-hearted person, whereas Donald Trump just isn't. So let's have a listen to the New York State Attorney rip into Donald Trump and explain why he's going to be taken to court.
Following a comprehensive 3-year investigation by my office, including witnesses, interviews with more than 65 witnesses, and review of millions of documents that were submitted by Mr. Trump and others, I am announcing that today we are filing a lawsuit against Donald Trump for violating the law as part of his efforts to generate profits for himself, his family, and his company.
That's correct. Nigel is about to lose his best friend, and you're going to hear the reasons as to why, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more on top at the end.
He did this with the help of the other defendants, his children, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump. Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization repeatedly and persistently manipulated the value of assets to induce banks to lend money to the Trump Organization on more favorable terms than would otherwise have been available to the company, to pay lower taxes, to satisfy continuing loan agreements, and to induce insurance companies to provide insurance coverage for higher limits and at lower premiums. This conduct was all in violation of Executive Law, Section 6312, which gives the Attorney General broad and special powers to go after persistent and repeated fraud and illegality. As part of demonstrating illegality under that section of Law 6312, we show that they violated several state criminal laws, including falsifying business records, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, and engaging in a conspiracy to commit each of these state law violations.
So those are the crimes that he's done in New York State. Let's now have a listen to what the federal crimes are.
Issuing false statements to financial institutions and bank fraud. And we are referring those criminal violations that we've uncovered to the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York and the Internal Revenue Service. As a result of these violations, we are asking the court to, among other things, permanently bar Mr. Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, from serving as an officer or director in any corporation or similar entity registered and or licensed in New York. To bar Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization from entering into any New York State commercial real estate acquisition or from applying for loans from any financial institution in New York for 5 years. To pay for the financial benefits obtained as a result of the persistent fraudulent practices at an estimated $250 million. The examples I laid out just barely scratch the surface of the misconduct that we have uncovered. The complaint, which all of you should have a copy, is more than 280 pages long. It includes examples from 23 assets that were grossly and fraudulently inflated, and those inflated values were used on Mr. Trump's statements almost every year. All told, we uncovered more than 200 examples of false and misleading asset valuations that were used on his statements. The pattern of fraud and deception that was used by Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization for their own financial benefit is astounding. Inflating the values of assets by whatever means necessary to increase Mr. Trump's purported net worth. And then that net worth was used to further enhance his financial standing, intentionally misrepresenting his financials to obtain incredible economic benefit. It was a scheme that by its very nature became more profitable over time. And it is all in stark violation of the law.
Another witch hunt by a racist attorney general. I mean, that in itself is just astounding that, you know, the rich white guy is playing the racist card. Letitia James, who failed in a run for governor, getting almost zero support from the public, and now is doing poorly against Law & Order AG candidate, highly respected Michael Henry. I never thought this case would be brought until I saw her really bad poll numbers. She's a fraud who campaigned on a Get Trump platform, despite the fact that the city is one of the crime and murder disasters of the world under her watch. Trump's level of denial and complete madness is nothing short of a fantasy novel. So it doesn't end there. The list is humongous. So first of all, the state of Georgia is taking him on for ringing up the governor of the state of Georgia and asking him to find 11,780 votes, which would have been one more than Joe Biden, which would have put him over the edge and won him the state. He's being charged twice for the coup on January 6th, both by the federal government and the January 6th committee. In Westchester, New York, home of the X-Men, he is also being investigated for his golf course because he overinflated the value of it. In DC, he's being investigated for overpaying for his hotel usage, which I assume is some sort of tax write-off scheme. And then in Manhattan, he's also being investigated for increasing the value of his properties. He's in deep, deep doo-doo, but his stupidity gets even better.
Bust in here and take it. You must be stupider than you look. Stupider like a fox.
During his campaign to be president, as well as being president, he always said taking the Fifth was a bad idea.
The mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment?
When you have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the Fifth so they're not prosecuted, when you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the Fifth, I think it's disgraceful.
Have you seen what's going on in front of Congress? Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Horrible. Horrible.
And the sweet, sweet irony here is that he used it 440 times when he was being investigated by the New York Attorney General. Trump attorneys went so far as to actually even offer the New York Attorney General some money to be able to put this all to bed and compensate New York for its loss of earnings. And it obviously wasn't a large amount of money because they rejected it. I'm honestly unsure as to how Donald Trump can get out of this. So many court cases against him, and for the New York Attorney General to come out on TV and read out the riot act of what Donald Trump has done is humongous. Whether or not it's just going to be a simple case of pay over the money and we're going to suspend you from being able to run companies, or if it's going to go even deeper than that and he's going to face jail time, that's to be seen. But what is true is that whatever happens, he is not going to have the power that he used to. He is going to go into that courtroom and he is going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, going back to what I was saying about the taking of the Fifth Amendment, there's a really important nuance here. The idea of the Fifth Amendment, the fifth change to the United States Constitution, is that you don't implicate yourself for a crime. So in theory, it's down to the people prosecuting you to put enough evidence forward to show that you've done something wrong. That works in a criminal case. It does not work in a civil case. And of course, he said it 440 times, which means when it goes into the courtroom and the prosecution who are going, this guy's guilty, that could be used as a piece of evidence against them for the jury to consider. All he said in that entire 440 denial that he confirmed was that his name was Donald Trump. I've got a very interesting clip on Nigel Farage to show you. But first, I just want to say a big thank you to all of my Patreon and YouTube supporters. I'm now starting to publish material that you'll only be able to get as a member on my YouTube group. If you'd like to help for free, just click the subscribe and like button and share the videos around. I'm sure you got people who want to watch this stuff. Nigel still defends Donald to this day, even though Trump incited a coup. What I find interesting in this clip is that Nigel talks about Black Lives Matter being really dangerous. I've never heard him come out and say anything against those rioters that attempted a coup against the American government.
I was in DC yesterday, and literally it's being boarded up, Mike. It's being boarded up because if Trump wins again, they know there are going to be riots. And something has gone terribly wrong in democracy in America and indeed in the UK, where the left now just don't accept genuine democratic results.
And that is an awful thing.
And so's that commentary from Nigel. I haven't heard as much from him in regards to the attempted coup. I think this is the end for Donald Trump. I don't see how he's going to be able to recover from this. He might be able to delay dealing with the courts, but the damage that this is going to create to his image is huge. He has to pay tax. That's the bottom line, and he hasn't. But there's every chance as well that his tax reports are going to be leaked onto the internet at some point in the near future, and people will be able to have a look at it for themselves. In my honest opinion, happy days. We no longer have to deal with a sociopath being president of the United States.